theory and expect you to figure out how to apply it to your own industry? Join us for this week's episode of Social Chatter, the industry's longest-running social media marketing news talk show. Not only will you learn the latest breaking news, but you'll also gain practical advice on how to apply it. Now here's your host, Christian Karasiewicz.
Welcome everyone to episode 203 of Social Chatter, your weekly social media marketing news talk show. I just want to say a quick hello. We have a fantastic show for you this week. It's going to be myself. Phil Gerbyshak's going to be co-hosting this week. And then we've got guest Troy Sandage on. We had to make a last minute change. Life gets in the way a lot of times for people. So, here's the thing. It's all about just rolling with the punches, having a backup plan in the off chance that something doesn't work. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on Phil. We're going to then kick things off. Hey, Phil, how you doing?
What's up? Hey, Christian. How's things?
Hey, Phil, how you doing, man?
Good, dude. It's great to see you. Fortunate to be here.
It is. And it was actually quite a surprise. I was actually not sure you were going to be on. So when you messaged me, hey, are we going to do this? I'm happy. I'm glad you're on this week. So
thanks. I'm glad to be here, buddy. And I'm glad that we have Troy on. Holy crap, man. How good. What a stroke of good fortune, right? Because life happens, like you said. We got to roll with the punches. And boy, Troy's here. Troy was going to be my replacement. Instead, he's our replacement guest. So if people watch Social Chefs, man, I can't believe that they wouldn't know Troy, right? Troy is famous. He's fine. Troy, 5 years today on Twitter. He's been, It feels like 100 years, man. He's such a veteran, huh, Christian?
Definitely. And he always brings the knowledge and the smarts. So, Troy, I'm going to go and bring you on. Pleasure to have you on. Thanks again.
There he is.
For stopping
Troy Sandage.
What's up, George Digital World? Year number 5 on Twitterverse. Whoop, 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 whoop. Y'all see I had to change up a shirt because I realized my previous 7 appearances on Social Chatter, I'm wearing the same stuff.
You've only got 2 shirts, Troy. Just tell us the truth.
Red Fire. Let's bring it. Let's bring it. Woo.
Woohoo.
Good. So I'm gonna make a couple of changes here in the background here, but
that's funny.
So Phil, what do you? We got a lot to talk about this week, right?
Oh my gosh! Well, we do have a lot to talk about this week.
Do this time.
What is right? So that's always the question, right? And so for folks that are watching, right, if this is your first time or you've been watching and listening many times, here's the thing, right? Every single week, Facebook makes changes, and every week we got to talk about them. Which first of all, I think that's brilliant strategy from Facebook to make sure that they stay top of lips, right? So that we're talking about them every single week. So this week, though, they're doing something that many businesses think about when they buy their businesses, and that is they're adding their name to Instagram and WhatsApp. Mm-hmm. So now it's going to be Faceagram and What the Book. Is that what they're doing, Troy? Is that what they're calling them?
Well, it's more subtle than that. They're not. I know some people are freaking out. Oh my God, Facebook is just going to claim Instagram and just call it Facebook and Facebook 2.0. No, that is not the case. It's very more subtle than that. It's just Instagram by Facebook, WhatsApp by Facebook, which is perfectly fine. But here's the thing. Again, NBC did a whole study in 2018, in December 2018, basically saying that only less than 40% of the world did not know that Facebook owned Instagram. They were boycotting Facebook on Instagram.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a really big surprise for a lot of people who still aren't in the know that Facebook owns the most popular app of 2019 right now.
So does this make people smarter or dumber that they're doing this, Troy? Or do you really think that
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, I totally agree, right? I think that's really
it is in this case.
That's really interesting, right? I think so. In most cases, I would say that you should add your name by Facebook. I think that's typically right. If I'm a business owner and I'm thinking about my business, and I just bought Find Troy by Phil Gerbyshak. Okay, let's say that's good. That I don't have enough money for that, but if I did,
I actually approve. Oh my goodness,
you approve of this merger?
I would have.
All right, so there you go. So that's the thing, right? That's why a lot of times these go through. But I don't know. To your point, Troy, I think that's a really important point. Is that a lot of people that use Facebook or that boycott Facebook or that think Facebook is the devil don't think that Instagram is the devil, even though it's the same company. Christian, what's up with this stupidity, man?
This is it's an interesting thing. I think that overall, a lot of people, I mean, they just don't think that Facebook owns Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp. This is actually something that actually has been changed for quite a while. Facebook actually started this a few years ago, where they started doing their website, where their website would show, it's a Facebook family product. So it was Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp. I mean, I think overall, I mean, I'm glad that they're doing this. They kind of have to, but I'm concerned more about the repercussions that this is going to have overall for Facebook and Instagram and the WhatsApp platform.
Hold on. They have to? Hold on. What, they have to? I don't think you have to. I mean, Christian, did your wife have to take your name when you got married, or were you going to break up with her and say
Facebook? No? I think that overall, I mean, they're going to have, like, I say they have to only because a lot of people, they're going to eventually, they're going to run into the same problem if they don't like make it obvious now. I think down the road, they're going to run the same issue of people. I think they're going to have more backlash as the platforms grow in terms of users.
How much more is Instagram going to grow, bro? I mean, really, come on, man. If you don't know now, you're never going to know.
I don't think it's hit its plateau yet. I don't think Instagram has hit its plateau yet.
Oh, Troy, what do you got, man? 2 billion, 5 billion? Where are you at, man?
I don't think it's tapped out, because I think as people are either migrating Facebook or want alternatives, or more people are embracing the video first lifestyle that we are all pushing, videos the way of the future for marketing, for your business and everything else, people are going to navigate more towards Instagram than any other platform still right now. So I think there's still some room and buffer. I don't think it hit its plateau just yet. But hey, Facebook may spin this to reap the success of Instagram and WhatsApp, to kind of give this family structure, and it may actually help the face of Facebook long term. Maybe. I'm being an optimist right now.
So maybe they should be saying instead, they should say, Instagram, we're not really Facebook. Don't be fooled. Use us instead. The Facebook alternative.
Well, another alternative we were talking about, not here, but when news first came out, was to do the alphabet approach. Create another umbrella and make Facebook kind of on the same level as Instagram and sub under there. That actually might be better versus just, Facebook is the devil, whether media propaganda or whatever. That may be actually a better strategy. Now it doesn't seem like Facebook has the power. You have like an overseer or a board of directors to oversee Zuckerberg, so to speak.
Ooh, I think that, Christian, what do you think about that one?
I actually like the idea.
How about we call it ABC instead of XYZ? What do you think, Christian?
It probably would be ABC.
It's worlddomination.com.
Yeah, I actually really like the idea of coming up with a parent company to house Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp. I look at it like this. I think that Facebook, they need to at some point rebrand all.
Did we? We'd lost him there for a second.
Oh, goodness.
Sorry. What I was saying was, I think at some point Facebook's going to have to rebrand, and have Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp. I think that as they haven't touched WhatsApp really. So as they kind of get there, that's when they're going to actually, I think run into a bigger issue. So I think trying to do this now, it's going to minimize the backlash. I mean, they kind of already have a lot of backlash, so they're going to have to, do we do it now or do we do it later? So that's my take on it.
I want to know, imagine the guy in the room pitching to Zuck and the entire team, hey, I have a really good way that we can earn the trust back and fix the privacy issue and not piss off the FTA. We're going to FTC, I'm sorry, add by Facebook to everything. And it's like real quiet and people are slowly clapping, but they're not sure what Zuck's thinking right now. So I don't know. But if you guys haven't seen The Great Hack on Netflix, it definitely, for people who get paranoid, I apologize in advance. It will make you paranoid of your data and why you need a VPN, why you need to monetize, make sure your passwords are protected, not to have password 1234 for all of your passwords, Unity and everything like that. But on the surge of The Great Hack being pushed through Netflix as well, introducing people again to things we've been talking about, Cambridge Analytica, for the past, what seems like forever ago in a day, it definitely enlightens you on the damage Facebook has taken on as a brand, as an essential brand. And also we can use it as a case study for businesses to what not to do. And it isn't just because of a platform, if you're trying to do an app, just how they decided to go about things and how we as marketers and of social chat have been trying to elude and communicate to you all the importance of transparency authenticity and communicating effectively to your audience to make sure when they opt in, they understand everything that you're going to do, when you're going to do it. So the transparency is there. So you don't have blunders, like maybe not on the scale of Facebook, but for your business, the scale of Facebook, hey, we didn't communicate that efficiently. So definitely take note of this. Small businesses, medium businesses, social media agencies, people who are just your personal brand, how vitally important it is to be open and transparent. Don't mean you got to tell everybody the kitchen sink, but make sure the sink is clean.
Right.
There you go.
I like that.
That's
I like
a tweetable. That's a tweetable. That's really smart, Mr. Sandage. Well done. Well done. Any last words, Christian, before we move on?
No other last words really on this. I think Troy really summed it up, and I love that example he gave. So nothing new for me on this end.
Keep your sink clean, ladies and gentlemen. Good stuff from Mr. Sandage. So, Christian, we want to talk about Twitter a little bit here. Twitter snoozing notifications, because I think this is really interesting here. This is kind of what Facebook is done with the unsubscribe from notifications, and now it's on Twitter. So now, perhaps right now we can be in a conversation without being in a conversation, right? We can come back and look at it. Like the fact that Twitter now is snoozing these notifications, I think this is potentially really, as a business owner, as someone who, sometimes gets involved in conversations, I can't have my phone blown up while I'm in the middle of a meeting if I'm demonstrating how to use something. So the fact that I can unsubscribe, I think is really vital. I think that's a really, really potentially cool move for folks. I think that, we've got a lot of opportunity here. Now, we see one person that mentioned this, but the fact that I can snooze for an hour, 3 hours, 12 hours, I think this is nice. I don't know, Troy, are you going to use this? You think this is valuable?
So this past about 9 months, I took the effort of actually purging my Twitter account for people who just wasn't giving me value. If you haven't tweeted me in 12 months, you out. If you haven't tweeted me in 6 months, you're out. Now, if we've communicated in person, there's some leeway there. And not that you have to retweet and like me and everything, but that engagement, I'm getting value. So a lot of that would have been more essential 9 months ago when I had a whole bunch of stuff going on for people. I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? Snooze, snooze, snooze. It's still valuable from the standpoint of people's mental health. I mean, we talk about social. I'm always online, literally always online. I don't sleep. But this is very important for social media managers, those who live in the digital world all the time. Sometimes it's good to snooze. You might have a good conversation that goes on. I'm with Christian and Phil. We do a Twitter thread and it goes on for days and days. And then we just might need a moment to just snooze so we can actually go to sleep and not be tempted to tweet at 2 a.m. since we have social chatter in like 4 hours from now. And I think that's a good move. I think having this option, just kind of the same way you would for Facebook notifications in your Facebook group, just snooze the notification. I don't want to get notified right through now. You still get it in your icon, but you're not getting the buzz every 2 seconds. I think it's very efficient and a good, nice gesture from Twitter.
Awesome. Christian, are you going to snooze this? Are you going to use this? I'm just curious, man.
Snooze or use.
What you got?
I think this is a very useful update for a business. Reason being is because, and here's the thing, a lot of people, they always say, hey, that's the same, mantra that we hear from most business owners. And where I think that there's going to be a lot of value in this is it's going to push you to be more aware of the time you spend, for instance, on your phone, the time you spend checking things. So for example, if your to-do list is not getting done, it might not be because you have too much stuff on it. Maybe you're doing the wrong things. For example, and I think you guys have probably seen this, but studies have found that the more people start and stop on tasks, the harder it makes things, makes it for you to get things done. And so I think this is going to be a very useful feature from that perspective. We're always used to the buzzing of the phone, whether it's the ding of the phone. I mean, for example, I don't know if you guys know this, but you can turn on the filter so that everything is just black and white. And studies have shown that, like, by doing that, for instance, that will actually help you not gravitate towards your phone as much because it's not as exciting. Like, it's black and white versus, just, hey, I see the Twitter icon or I see the Facebook icon. So I think that this is going to be a useful feature for a business to have, to be able to disable those push notifications so they can focus and get some real work done in that a certain amount of time.
Yeah. I think good points, right? Good points. Offers some more control, which is really what we're looking for. As a business owner, right? I don't want social media to control me. I get this all the time, right? How long should I be on social media every single day? And the answer to that is as long as you need to be, not a time period. But this gives us control, so that it's not like hold on. I got to check this out, right? I think really good point.
I want to play devil's advocate for just 1 minute. For people who do PR, crisis communication, big brands, this is not what you should do, in my personal opinion. Because, we may sleep, but sometimes you get that notification 10 times and you're like, okay, something's going on. I need to address it. There could be a hot tweet that is hurting your brand, and you got this thing on snooze, and it just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds, and then here we are. So I think there is some finessing to that, depending on the context of the conversation as well.
Totally agree, right? No, you're never a universal answer, and I think you brought up a really great point there, Troy. If you're in PR, if you're someone who's looking for those timely notifications, it's important, right? Really important. So good point, Troy. Really good point.
Yeah,
I also think we should add snooze or use to the tool times. Like, do you snooze or do you use? I kind of like that phrase. Yeah, I'm digging it.
Snooze or use. So, Christian, we'll talk about that because that's pretty good. I think that's good, Troy. Yet another nugget from Fine Troy.
That's two.
You don't know Troy? Come on, you got to get to know this guy.
So
it's early. Fantastic. I got the energy today.
That's it. Bring in the noise. Hey, and there's a lot of noise, folks, and you want to make sure you cut through that noise. We send 1 email a day. It's our daily email. If you go to socialchefs.com/daily, Christian sends out these fantastic news nuggets for you just once a day. You can get that at socialchefs.com/daily. You'll also get the recap of this show and lots of stuff that we didn't get into the show today because, frankly, we don't have time to cover everything. And you can snooze it or you can lose it with the apps that we're going to be bringing you. So, again, that's socialchefs.com/daily to get some good stuff. So, Christian, I know that we have a lot more stuff we could cover, but what do you think about moving into the tool time a little bit early so we can talk more about these? Because we've got some cool tools, man. These tools are different than tools that I've seen. I'm going to just say, folks, if you normally think that we've got some neat tools, we've got even better tools today, which I think is cool. And this is when we dance. Tool time. That's right.
Oh, we was doing a cappella. I see you.
That's it.
All right.
We're dancing. Here we go. Dance with us for some tool time, folks.
Hey.
So now's the fun time of the show.
We're making money.
That's it. So, Troy, you're going to have to write a song for us for next week. If you can get on that, that'd be great.
Do I get to beatbox it?
You can. It's the tool time rap.
All right.
That's it. As opposed to wrapping your tools with rap or whatever you want. Wiki. Because I'm moving to wiki watchy. Pretty close to there. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So so pretty lame. So anyway, so first tool, Social Insider.
Love the name.
And so just a quick heads up, Social Insider was actually, it's the person who was going to be our guest this week, Adina Jipa. She's like the co-founder of this company, Social Insider. Basically, it's a way for you to, as I say, save time and impress clients with data they haven't seen before. Here's the thing. I used to work for IBM on the mobile social team there, and I will say this: the data is where you need to be looking.
Yeah, it's about data, right? It's about insight, not data, right, Christian? And doesn't this app give us that?
Exactly. Yes, and that's a key thing. Like, it's not just like, oh, hey, I think my customer is going to do this. Like, the data will tell you, hey, are they on mobile or are they on desktop? Look at the data. Am I driving a lot of YouTube engagement? Okay, yes. Which videos, if I publish a whole bunch of videos, do they need to be 5 minutes? Do they need to be 60 minutes long? It's all in, in the data and the details, for example. Don't just think, oh, well, that's just what somebody else does. I'm going to do it too. This is basically a social media analytics tool. They've got benchmarking, and it's also obviously for digital agencies. So if you're managing a lot of companies, great thing to check on, great thing to use. Phil, have you had a chance to check this out, by the way?
Not much, right? Not much. I have had a chance to kind of play around with what it shows that it does. I didn't get a chance to sign up for a trial, but the fact that we can compare your benchmarks, the fact that we can get data and insight that we couldn't get is fantastic for me, because a lot of times we're all doing the same exact thing, right? That's the challenge. We're doing the same thing. So now that we're not doing the same thing, I think this gives us great opportunity, again, to showcase some stuff, but we still have to put our brains behind it, right? So let's talk to the social media marketing folks here. Troy, this is kind of what you do, right? The consultants of the world, where they think really smartly about, they surface that data and now they impress them with good stuff. So Troy, how would you use something like this? Let's talk about that.
So, social media managers, anyone who's inspiring to be in social, anyone inspiring to be a data analyst, marketing analyst, things of that nature. Everyone knows that I don't care how much data you have. If you can't make sense of it in simple terms for your CEO, your manager, your audience, your clients, it won't matter. You can have the secret sauce, the inside scoop of anything. That doesn't take away you're able to transcend and communicate that properly. So this seems like a great opportunity because, again, like you alluded to, everyone's getting data. They're trying to make sense of it. Shoot, the amateurs of the world would say, hey, we got 50,000 impressions today, but one click. Well, the impressions mean nothing. That just means however many people drove past the billboard. Not many people took the effort to click on, type on the URL they saw on the billboard to go to my website to buy my expensive products. So with this data, and again, I love that it's data you've never seen. It definitely inquires my ears, because if you're like, all right, what data that I don't have that I can't acquire that now you're providing me, that may set you apart from other individuals, from other companies, especially agencies. If you're trying to win new clients, having that opportunity to show a client competitors what they're doing from a very unique data standpoint is vitally important. And that's relevant to any business. So for me, I'm definitely inquired. I love the name. I'm curious about how the KPIs integrate. I'm curious, how does that mean we're not migrating from Google Ads, Google Analytics, and other data points, other unique focal data points that we don't initially think of that is going to be presented in this? Because again, I haven't been able to dive into the free trial myself, but I am intrigued to see if this is the new wave of, the top tier data miner for your competition, to see where now everyone pitches about, hey, I'm going to try to monetize you and show you your competitors' data. And it's the same thing that clients could find on their own in probably an extra 10 minutes. So I'm always curious about that.
Troy, here's the thing though with that, man. I feel you, but as we look at the pricing model, right, and we see all the things they offer, it's not like it's so Instagram story analytics, hashtag analytics, YouTube analytics, Twitter analytics, Instagram, Facebook video, Facebook analytics, historical posts, social competitors with yours and your competitors.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I don't necessarily know that that's stuff that I've shared before. A lot of times I pick one or two data points. We talk about growth. We might do a little sentiment analysis, but I think this gives us some insight here that otherwise we didn't have. And even to your point, just because the data is there though, doesn't mean it's easy for me to get.
Right.
Especially right. I mean, yeah, right. Especially integrated with against my competition. So now if I'm, what I'm thinking is I see a PowerPoint slide or a report that says, "Papow, here's something, you compared versus this competitor, here you are, rack and stack." But then, and here's the value, I think, is here's the insight. Here's why I believe your delta is, right? And that's a different conversation. It does, but still, I think there's still tons of value here. Tons of value.
Use for sure. You have everything tied into one platform, so you're trying to not sort of migrating it over to make a report. It's all integrated within. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yep.
And overall, I think this is a good tool. I mean, you get access to Facebook and Instagram and YouTube data, which very useful. I think overall also this is actually pretty manageable yearly, access to like 2 months. But again, for me, the KPIs are where it's really important. It's what are your KPIs for your business? Your goals that you want to hit, and how are you performing towards those? It's, as Troy mentioned, it's not, oh, I got a whole bunch of impressions. Oh, I got a whole bunch of likes on my page. That stuff doesn't matter. Yes. Okay. You want to keep growing your likes, but that's not the number you want to be focusing on. And what post, notice that types of posts are performing well because you're using this type of tool. Then you'll also see, you'll be able to say, hey, you know what? We need to factor this kind of content into our strategy. or, if you're going to focus on different, when you're posting your content, for example, when are people engaging with that change? Maybe different time, for example, instead of the one that I think is the right time. So I think this is a very useful tool. Again, $50 a month. Also, you get a free trial as well. So definitely
$50. Hold on. $50 a month. $50 a month. Where's the $50 a month one? 59, right? Is that what you're saying? 59 a month or 49 a month if you're talking?
It's under the yearly social.
Oh, okay, yearly. Yep, gotcha.
49
okay.
yearly, actually.
Nope, just making sure. Yeah, 49 if you go with the yearly plan, which is $600 a year. Which if you surface 3 or 4 things that move the game, that give you better ROI, $600 a year is not that bad. Not that bad at all. Because most small businesses, for $600 a year to get real data, real insight to change one thing that might improve, right, increase some sales. I don't know. That's a pretty good deal. Pretty good deal.
The other thing I think also that's key here also, is you look at who all uses these tools. So that's another key thing. It's not to say like, hey, let me follow the leader, but if I'm a small business, for example, or a small to medium business, and I have the budget, I want to look at also what companies are actually using these tools. Because, for example, if I see, I think there's Xiaomi, another good company as well. That's a tech company. These are companies that, they clearly value the information that they're getting out of this tool. So, if you're in that same space, for example, it might be worth checking out.
Awesome.
So that's tool 1. And the second tool we have is called Linkero. And Phil, I don't know, do you want to take time to explain this?
Yeah, for sure. So the goal with Linkero here is it adds a call to action to the links you share. So I want you to think about this, right? If you've got a link, right? I sent a link to Troy's awesome blog post, but most people don't know that Troy wrote it because I shared it on Twitter. I shared it on LinkedIn. I shared it on Facebook. I shared it somewhere. What's really cool is that I can then add my call to action to Troy's post. So now they don't realize that Troy wrote it. They think, wow, Phil, you're really smart, man. And your call to action. Now, the key with this is that you have to be relevant with the stuff that you share. And 2, you have to be relevant with the call to action that you share. Because otherwise, you're like, Troy's got a great post about how to eat chocolate chip cookies. And I've got a post about how to buy laptop cases, right? Like, I mean, come on now. That's not good. So we need to think about, so how do we be more relevant? And then how do we make sure that it actually doesn't look gaudy? And Linkero definitely does that. I don't know, Troy, have you used a tool like this?
I think this is great. I think you just took Bitly to a new level as far as we're not just link shortening to just make not a long list. It's just to give some functionality to the link as well. From a business standpoint, nonprofits, hello, this is it. This is, to me, a gold mine opportunity if you're trying to use it with micro influencers or in tangent with other partnerships. Again, if you're trying to tie in with Amazon Smile and things like that, this is perfect for you guys. Not only because you guys do a lot of press releases, a lot of content to really push the avenue, the budget to the community to get those fundraisers for children in need or whatever the CTA is. This is a perfect add-on for you all to do. Very simple to use. Again, you can integrate that, if I read it correctly, with Google Analytics and other tracking mechanisms to enhance the link. So it's not just stagnant. You can see how many people click on it from what platform and things like that as well. So I think nonprofits, off the top of my head, really good push for it. Also, those who are trying to sell products working with creators and influencers. Again, it's a good partnership there that you actually see creators use to say, hey, this is my new video of my review of this product and CTA to buy the product. That would be a good combination. Or if you flip it in reverse, things like that, I feel like is great for sure.
Awesome. And Phil, I think this is a fantastic tool overall. I mean, it's not just a link shortener, but it has the ability to track the URL. So for example, a lot of times most people only share their content. And why do they do that? Because they think that, hey, if I share my content and they drive them back to my website, ads. So, hey, what's the point of sharing someone else's content? Now, where this tool I think really helps is it offers the ability to share other people's content, but you can attach your own tracking pixel as well for Facebook, for Twitter, for LinkedIn, for Pinterest, many more sites. Now, in addition to that, it also has an opt-in option as well. So for example, we've got a couple of opt-ins here. I'm going to bring this screenshot here up. This is an opt-in you can have at the bottom, for instance, of a page, and you can have a pop-up. So you can actually now build your email list also with this tool. So for those of you who've been trying to build it with, like, hey, I got a sign-up form on the side, there's another way. And then the other thing is, as Troy mentioned, it ties into Google Analytics. It ties into ManyChat, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago with Kelly Noble Mirabella. So I think this is a very, very useful tool for a business. Absolutely. And for me, the price is not that bad. I mean, $12 a month, $49 a month for the pro plan, which gives you, 10 campaigns and unlimited links, and then up to 5 tracking pixels. I mean, to me, that's a win-win all around, and you get a trial with it as well. So
yeah, totally agree. Great tool. We combine the two of these tools, and now we get some really cool data. I mean, this is pretty nice. And I would say a best practice for a business is to remember that at least 20% of the stuff, maybe as much as 30% of your stuff, some even say 40% of your stuff, you should curate, because you're not the only smart voice on the planet. And now you can smart curate. You can still get the call to action, right? This is really important. Now, I will say, in full disclosure, right, a tool like Sniply does some of this stuff, but not all of it. And some websites do block this. Some websites do block these tools. So don't be upset with Link Hero if this doesn't work. Just know that every site is different. It is possible that people block this stuff. So just be aware of that. In fact, I've seen on LinkedIn, it actually really decreases the potential virality. If we had a Sniply link, I've not seen this with Link Hero yet, but I'm just telling you, I've seen what happens is, and it shows that it's got a snip.ly in the middle of the URL because it's not a verified domain, because it's a pass-through domain. So just be aware of that. There are a little bit of downsides, a little bit more transparency, but most of your customers, unless they're as nerdy as me, which even these two guys are not as nerdy as me, they're not even going to notice it.
Also keep in mind that potentially if there's a featured image attached to an article, it may not go through. You may have to do the finessing with Facebook developers and LinkedIn developers to get, especially LinkedIn, especially right through now. But this poor caching, they're like 2 years behind if you updated the image as well. So be cautious. I wouldn't push this as the main article when you first write it, but the subsequent repurposing and resharing of it to get views and get people to really read it, then go ahead for sure.
Great point, buddy. Great point.
So cool. Any parting thoughts you guys want to add, by the way, for this week's show?
Well, I want to add something, Troy, and then I'm going to kick it over to you, buddy. And my big add for this week is, remember that data is useless without action. Take the action on the data that you find. Look for insights. Make sure that you don't test everything, right? There's a reason that multivariate testing is so darn expensive, because if I change 10 things, it's going to cost a lot of money to backtrack and see which one worked. Instead, I encourage you to take the data, change one thing, measure yourself for 66 or 90 days, and then change one more. Don't do it all. Troy, what do you think, buddy? What do you got?
Well, I'm going to tag into your point. I guess my takeaway is, again, don't be obsessed with trying to get every single data point that you can possibly think of from all platforms, from all mechanism measurements out there. It's the same thing when you're eating food, right? If you're trying to get everything from the buffet, you're going to get fat, you're going to get bloated, you're not going to be able to move, you're probably going to fall and pass out, and you're not going to be a help to anybody. It's about selectively choosing the data points that's going to be benefit to your life and your health in that instance. So to the health of your business, sure, we're giving you options, we're giving you apps, we're giving you the tools necessary to kind of put your whole world together, make sense from you from a bottom line standpoint, but be wise about it. Don't try to chase every new thing out. If it's not for you, it's not for you. If the data points make sense to you for your quarter 3, your quarter 4, great. Add a little, have 10%, 20% of that to just modify the changes, but don't try to get every data thing out there. Think, now that I know all the data, I'm going to be able to see how to increase my revenue by 10% by the end of the year. That is not how this works. Small changes, very smart small changes over an intimate amount of time will help you grow from a brand influencer standpoint to a money-making standpoint as well.
Awesome. Christian, last words for you, buddy.
I just want to thank everybody. A couple of audio issues going on, but thanks for everyone who's joining this week, and definitely try out the tools. I mean, if you have any questions on them, don't hesitate to reach out. if you want some ideas or whatnot on them. And we're going to be back next week. Troy, we're going to have I think he's the founder of Hello Woofy on next week.
Yes. Oh man, I'll talk about it later. I'm hyped about this one. I've had the inside scoop for 3 months now, so I'll talk about it.
We're gonna have Arjun on, right? I think his name's Arjun.
Arjun Ray.
Arjun on next week. Next Thursday, I think it's
at noon Eastern. Noon Eastern time.
So I want to thank everyone for joining. I want a big shout out to Troy and Phil both for thanks for just the surprise drop in. I really appreciate that. And Troy, thanks a lot for also offering to fill in this week for Phil. But I'm glad everything worked out, actually.
We are fulfilled today.
We are.
This was a full circle stream for this time. It was very concise, very specific the whole way through. I loved it.
That's right.
We're going to have a blog post recap. That's going to go out tomorrow, socialchefs.com/SC203. Don't forget, though, if you want to get notified ahead of time, we got the daily newsletter, socialchefs.com/daily. But we will see you all next week. Thanks a lot for joining. Just stay tuned. Bye.
Bye, everyone. See you later.